Good evening, Gators. My name is Estelle, and this is Vinyāsa Yoga. So I want to thank you for joining me this evening. If this is your first time, thank you for trusting me with your practice. We have just one more class after this. So again, thank you for taking this class with me. So just some housekeeping things to start. You're going to need a mat, carpet, towel, anything that you can lay on that is comfortable, where you feel like you can fully relax, but also feel grounded and stable on it. You may need a block today. This can be block, pillow, textbook, whatever is sturdy. That'll add some height just in case you're not fully comfortable reaching all the way for your toes. So for today, we're going to do a gentle class. If you were here last week, we did a lot of standing stuff. So today we will start sitting down. You can either be seated how I am, feet tucked between calves and thighs, or you can be laying down on your mat, either legs fully extended or knees up towards the ceiling. Again, it is up to you and what makes you feel most comfortable. So we'll begin our first relaxation. Just gonna roll those shoulders down and back, close those eyes, and take a nice big deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. I want to take this time to check in with ourselves, figure out where our bodies are, where our minds are. What do we need from this class today? How are we feeling? What limitations do we have? Let's acknowledge them. What pains, tightness, soreness do we want to address? Take this time to check in with your mat or your grounding foundation. Allow yourself to fully relax, connecting with your grounding foundation. Take this time to open your mind. Be present for the duration of this class. And also be gentle with yourself. If you're feeling that it's hard for you to quiet your thoughts, hard for you to breathe, hard for you to get comfortable, acknowledge that. Acknowledge the block that you may feel. And let's just work through it. If you are sitting up, I'm going to have you lay down on your mat. Legs fully extended, palms facing down. We want our hands flat on our surface. We want our fingers nice and apart, just connecting with the ground, the earth. On that last exhale, on our next inhale, we're going to raise our right leg, bent, not straight. We're going to place our hands behind that knee, right at the end of our thigh, and we're going to pull our knee into our chest. With every exhale, pulling that knee just a little bit closer. That lying leg, I want to be flexing through those heels, extending that body along our mats. that lift. Bringing that knee into your chest. You can have your hands behind the knees, right where your thigh ends, or you can place them on top, right on your knees, and just pull those knees into your chest. Feel free to rock side to side. Wake up those hips. And remember, we're breathing in through the nose and out through the nose or mouth. With every breath, we're getting a little bit deeper into the stretch. On our next exhale, we're going to release the right leg, extending it along our mats, flexing through that heel. With our inhale, we're pulling that left knee into our chest, opening up those hips. And on that next exhale, release that leg. We're going to plant both of our feet down on our mat, bringing our knees up towards the ceiling. Having our feet roughly hip distance apart. Bringing our heels right underneath our knees, close to our hips. From here, we're going to do some core work. So we're going to bring those hands behind our head. Want to make sure our chin is up towards the ceiling the whole time. On our next exhale, we're going to raise the chest, leading with the chin and the chest up towards the ceiling. Exhaling on the way up, holding for a moment, engaging that core, those abs. And inhaling slowly, one vertebrae at a time, bringing the neck back down to our mat. And again, we're exhaling, coming up, engaging that core. Inhaling slowly, bringing the body back down. Just 3 more. And on that final inhale, bringing that head back down to our mat, releasing those hands, palms facing down. I want to feel the energy from beneath us. From here, we're going to transition into some bridges. So again, we want those feet hip distance apart. We're going to plant those feet nice and strong. We're going to raise our hips up towards the ceiling. So on our next exhale, lifting up those hips one vertebrae at a time. Right when we get to the top, or whatever your top is, squeezing those glutes at the top, holding for just a moment, and slowly, one vertebrae at a time, bringing those hips back down to our mat. And again, exhaling those hips all the way up, squeezing those glutes, holding for a moment, inhaling those hips back down to our mat. Just 2 more. And on that final inhale, slowly bringing those hips down to our mat, one vertebrae at a time. Resting for a moment, eyes open or closed. Whenever you're ready, we're going to drop one knee down to our side, roll over, and transition to all fours. So we're sweeping those legs underneath our hips, swinging those arms underneath our shoulders, bringing those wrists right underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. And we want our feet flat on our mat or ground. We want our neck in neutral spine, so we want to be looking at the top of our mat or above, not too far above so that our head is up, but just enough so that our spine is in neutral. From here, we're going to go into our cat-cows. So on that next inhale, we're going to drop our belly button down to our mat, lifting that tailbone up towards the ceiling, raising that chin up towards the ceiling, and exhaling, tucking that chin into our chest, rounding out that spine, pushing that belly button all the way up to the ceiling. The most important thing about this pose is the breathing. We want to make sure that we're not holding our breath. We're listening to our body. We're feeling what feels labored and what feels smooth, like a flow. We want to make sure we're pushing through the palms of our hands, rounding out that back, using every point of contact to push through. Just 2 more here. And when you're ready, you're just going to return to neutral spine, making adjustments as needed. From here, we're going to tuck those back toes for some added stability, and we're going to move into spinal balance. So we're going to extend opposite arm, opposite leg. With that arm, we're reaching through those fingertips, straight ahead, right out that shoulder. With those legs, we're reaching through those heels, straight out from those hips. So on our next inhale, we're raising that arm and leg, extending straight through those fingertips, through the heel. And on that exhale, we're either bringing elbow to knee for some added core work, or we're just placing them back down to all fours, alternating sides. So again, we're extending, elongating the body, inhaling as we reach, exhaling as we bring elbow to knee or back down to all fours. Don't be afraid to follow your own breath at any moment in time. If you feel like your breath is moving very slow, that's completely fine. If you feel like your breath is moving really fast, that is fine as well. Maybe try focusing a little bit more on that breath, slowing it down, figuring out where the work is coming from and minimizing it. We do want to engage our muscles, but this is not a high intensity class. Just 2 more on each side. And when you are done, you can go ahead and rest in child's pose or downward dog, or just stay on all fours. You are in that child's pose, pushing those hips all the way back, extending those arms in front of you, bringing your head as close to our mat as we can. If I do that, you guys will not hear me. So do not follow what I am doing, follow what I am saying. Or again, you can be in that downward dog or staying on all fours. From here, if you are not in a child's pose, you're going to get there now. We are all going to start from here. So on our next inhale, we're going to bring those hips forward into a kneeling plank. Exhaling, bringing the chest all the way down to our mat. Inhaling up into full plank. Dropping those knees down and pushing those hips back into child's pose. That is our half series. We're going to do it one more time, that's slow, and then the next will be on each breath. So again, we're inhaling, bringing those hips forward into a kneeling plank. Exhaling, bringing the chest down. Inhaling up into a full plank. Exhaling, dropping those knees and pushing those hips back into child's pose. Just 2 more times here at your own pace, following your own breath. And just rest in child's pose. From here, we're going to go into our first downward dog. So we're bringing those hips forward, tucking those toes, lifting up those knees, and pushing those hips back. Ooh. Waking the back of those legs up, those toes, those ankles, everything you got. You can start by pedaling both of those feet. Start by just doing one, hanging it off, stretching out the backs of those legs. You can go up on those toes, stretching out those shoulders. From here, we're just going to shuffle those feet forward into a forward fold at the top of our mat, and we're just going to hang for a moment. Feel free to grab onto those elbows, make that head heavy, bend those knees, extend them, move around in this pose. And from here, exhaling up, inhaling up, exhaling, bringing those hands to heart center. From here, we're going to stand in our mountain pose. So feet are roughly hip distance apart, palms are facing away from the body, shoulders down and back. Resting here, eyes open or closed, it is up to you. From here, we're going to move into our moon and sunflowers. So we're just going to step back with one foot and have our feet wider than hip distance apart. We're going to turn those toes out, heels in, about 45 degrees. We want to make sure our feet are far enough apart so that when we're bringing our hips down, our knees are not going past our toes. They're staying over those ankles. So shoulders down and back. We're going to inhale up. Exhaling, leading with those elbows into those hips, bringing the hips down into our moonflower. Inhaling those arms up, exhaling. With this, body placement is very important. So we want to make sure that our shoulders are down and back, chest is wide open. We want to make sure that we're pulling our knees back, making sure that they're over our ankles so that they're not falling forward. And we also, again, want to make sure that those knees, are not going past those toes. Just 2 more. From here, we'll transition into our sunflowers. So again, inhaling those arms up, exhaling those hands, palms facing up towards the ceiling, edges of the hands together as if we're serving a platter. Same exact cues with the shoulders, the chest, the knees, the ankles, and the hips. Just 2 more here. And on that final, exhaling those arms down, driving that leg back up to the top of our mat. In our mountain pose, palms facing away from the body, shoulders down and back, feet hip distance apart. From here, we're going to inhale up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale all the way down. Inhale, stepping back with the left leg into a low lunge. Back with the right into a high plank. Bringing the chest all the way down to our mat, into an upward dog. Coming back down, switch into a downward dog. Bringing those feet, stepping forward with the right leg into a low lunge. Stepping forward with the left into our forward fold. Inhaling up and exhaling and sitting in our chair pose. This is our sun salutation. We'll do it 2 more times, a little slow. So here we go. Inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale all the way down. Stepping back with the left. Stepping back with the right. Bringing the chest all the way down into an upward dog. Bringing the chest down, pushing those hips back into a downward dog. Stepping forward with the left foot. Then the right. In our forward fold. Inhaling up. And sitting in our chair pose. 1 more time with that. Inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale. Stepping back with the left. Then the right. Bringing the chest down. Upward dog. Pushing the hips back. Stepping forward with the left. Then the right. Inhaling up and sitting in our chair pose. And back to mountain. Take this time to regain your breath. Bring that heart rate down. And find our center. From here, we're going to move into lower body. So we're at the top of our mat. We're going to step back with our left leg. Both toes pointed forward. Bend in that front leg to a high lunge. We want to pretend that we're trying to bring our legs closer together to engage our quads and hamstrings. and glutes as well. So whenever you're ready, you can either bring those hands to prayer, or you can bring them all the way up into tree, palms facing each other. Start from the bottom, making sure that knees are not going past those toes. Ankles are in line with each other, and legs are in line with hips. Taking nice, big, deep breaths from here. In through the nose and out through the mouth or nose. If those shoulders need a break, feel free to come in prayer. You can bring those hands behind. From here, we're going to rotate those back toes away from the top of our mat, letting our chest go as well, keeping that front leg exactly where it is, bringing those arms down to shoulder length, and averting our gaze to those front fingers looking beyond. So again, we want to check our body alignment here, making sure knees are over ankles, ankles and hips in line with each other, shoulders over hips, shoulders back and down, arms fully extended. Again, those options are prayer, extended, or coming behind. Taking nice, full breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. From here, we're going to drop that front arm. That forearm's going to come right down on our thigh, right above our knee. Legs are staying exactly where they are. We're going to open up that chest, rotate that shoulder, and extend that arm up towards the ceiling, letting our gaze follow. Again, if those shoulders do not want to do this, bringing that hand behind you, or you can bring it to prayer. For where we're going next, you might need a block or something sturdy if you do not want to go all the way down to your mat, or you can stay exactly where we are right now. If you would like to move forward, all you're going to do is lift up, extend that leg, extend that arm, and go all the way down. Our legs are in the exact same place, shoulders in the same place, gaze is in the same place, except now that front leg is fully extended and that hand is down by that foot ankle area. Just a few more breaths. And on that final exhale, we're going to slowly come out of this position. So if that arm is fully extended, you're bringing it down. That front leg is going to bend. That hand that is down by your ankle or mat or whatever is coming up to that forearm. That back leg is twisting towards the top of your mat. We're lifting up that chest in our high lunge, and we're driving that left leg back up to the top of our mat. In our mountain pose, shoulders down and back, palms facing forward, feet hip distance apart, getting ready to do the other side. From here, we're going to step back that right leg. Again, both toes pointed towards the top of our mat, engaging those quads and hamstrings. And then on our next inhale, we're either lifting those arms up above our heads, bringing those hands to prayer, or bringing those hands behind us. Standing strong in our high lunge. Paying attention to where our feet are, our knees, our shoulders. Are we shrugging them up, or are we pulling them down away from our shoulders? From here, we're going to rotate those back toes away from the top of our mat, bringing those hands down, shoulder length, extending those fingers, and averting our gaze to those front fingers looking beyond. We still want that bend in that front leg. We want our ankles in line with each other, in line with hips, in line with knees, in line with shoulders. From here, we're going to drop that front forearm onto that front thigh and extend that arm up towards the ceiling, letting our gaze follow those fingers. Again, nothing with our lower body is changing. We're just bringing that upper body down. You can choose to stay here or grab that block, book, pillow, whatever. We're going to extend that front leg and drop that front arm all the way down to that ankle or mat or ground, keeping that chest open, keeping our gaze up towards the ceiling. If that arm is extended, we're still there, or that arm can be behind us. Want to make sure if you are putting your hand on your ankle or on that foot, not putting any weight on it, just resting. You do not want to put any weight on a leg that is stretching. Just a few more breaths here. And when you're ready, we're going to slowly come out of this. So starting by Bending that front leg, bringing that forearm up to thigh, bringing that hand from the ceiling down, rotating that chest towards the mat, rotating those back toes toward the top of our mat, lifting that chest up, and driving that right leg back up to the top of our mat, feet roughly hip distance apart, shoulders down and back, palms facing forward, in our mountain pose. We want to use this pose to regain focus and let your body relax while also preparing it for something. From here, we're going to inhale up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale all the way down. Stepping back with that right leg into a low lunge. Stepping back with the left into a full plank. Bringing that chest down to our mat, to an upward dog. Pushing those hips back, tucking those toes to a downward dog. Stepping forward with the left leg, and then the right. Inhaling up, and sitting in our chair pose. Just got 2 more of those. And here we go, inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale all the way down. Stepping back with the right leg into a low lunge. Back with the left into a full plank. Tucking those toes, dropping that chest into an upward dog. Pushing those hips back. Stepping forward with the right leg. And then the left. And inhaling up. And sitting in our chair pose. Last time here, inhaling up, exhale, stepping back with the right, left, and stepping forward with the right, and back to our mountain pose. From here, just going to do some stretches, some upper body stretches. So we're going to start with the left arm, palm facing away from the body. We're going to lift that hand up and reach. So we are not lifting up from the shoulder, hyperextending, reaching through those fingertips, imagining our arm elongating, reaching towards the ceiling. With every breath, we're reaching a little bit further. Just 2 more breaths. And on that final exhale, releasing that arm, bringing it back down to our side. Inhaling the other arm right up. Just 2 more breaths. And on that final exhale, bringing that arm back down to our side. I'm going to bring those hands behind us, interlocking those fingers, squeezing those shoulder blades together. If you can, we're going to raise those hands up. Do whatever feels comfortable. This should not hurt. This should feel pleasant. Just a few more breaths here. And on that final exhale, releasing those arms, bringing them down to our hips, letting them go, rolling out those shoulders, and coming back to our mountain pose. We're going to do our last standing pose before we transition back down to our mat and do our tree pose. So it does not matter what foot you start with, whatever makes you feel the most confident, but whatever foot you're going to balance on first. You're going to make sure your toes are nice and far apart, feeling every point in your foot in contact with the ground, whether that's your mat or whatever have you. With that other foot, we're bringing that heel up onto our ankle. We're going to set up. So we're going to make sure that we're pulling that knee back so that it's in line with our hip. And we're also going to make sure that wherever we place this foot, it is either on our calf muscle or our thigh muscle, and we're letting the leg do all the work. We are not grabbing onto that ankle to place the leg somewhere. So taking a few deep breaths here. When you feel grounded and stable, whenever you are ready and your body tells you to do so, you're just going to raise that leg, again, either on the calf or on the thigh. With those hands, you can either be in prayer or up in tree. If you're feeling very advanced, you can close your eyes for an added challenge. And from here, we're going to breathe. Even though our planted foot is carrying all of our weight right now, I want to try not to have that foot gripping on for dear life. Just a few more breaths here. And when you're ready, you're going to release that leg. Shake out that grounded leg and prep the other side. So same exact thing, spreading out those toes, planting that foot, placing the opposite heel on that ankle, getting our knees and hips in line, gaining our balance, and lifting that leg. Just a few more breaths here. So apologize for my stern look. I'm just trying to balance. And on that final exhale, we're going to release that leg. Shake out that grounded foot. And return to our mountain pose for 2 more sun salutations. I'll do it this way. So from here, we're going to inhale up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale all the way down. Stepping back with that right leg into a lunge. Stepping back with the left into a plank. Bringing that chest down into an upward dog. Tucking those toes, pushing those hips back. Stepping forward with the right leg. Then the left. Inhaling up. Exhale into our chair pose. And again, we're inhaling up. Exhale. Hands to knees. Exhale. Stepping back with the right. Stepping forward with the right. Back to mountain. From here, we're just going to take a seat on our mat, fully extending those legs in front of us, sitting up nice and tall on those sits bones. We're going to take opposite arm, opposite leg. So opposite arm goes on the outside of that knee. Same arm, same leg comes behind, and we're rotating that chest. Sitting up nice and tall, just rotating that spine. Just a few more breaths here. And on that final exhale, releasing that hand from behind us, bringing it forward, and releasing that hand from that leg. Getting ready to do the other side. So opposite arm comes to the outside of that knee. Same arm comes behind, rotating that chest, sitting up tall, and stretching out that spine. Two more breaths here. And release. Starting with that hand from behind, then the hand that is on the legs. We're going to do 2 more things before our final relaxation. Now lift our legs, we're going to lift our knees, plant our feet down on our mat. I'm going to bring our hands behind us. Our fingertips are going to go towards our feet and our hips. We're going to raise those hips up towards the ceiling, keeping those wrists underneath our shoulders, keeping your gaze forward, our neck relaxed, stretching out our spine and our chest, squeezing those glutes to hold us up. If you get tired, slowly bring those hips down, take a moment, and come back and join us if we're still in this pose. Just a few more breaths here. And And on that final exhale, slowly bringing those hips back down to our mat, extending those legs, and bringing our back slowly, one vertebrae at a time, head coming last, down to our mat. From there, we're going to go into a big spinal twist. So we're going to raise that right leg. I'm going to extend right arm straight out, shoulder length. We're going to place opposite arm on that knee, and we're going to pull this knee to the opposite side of our body. We're going to look back at those fingers. Just a few more breaths here. And on that final exhale, bringing our neck back up towards the ceiling, bringing our hand from behind us back to our mat, and releasing that leg, bringing it back to our mat, extending it along. Other side, we're going to raise that left leg, left arm, extend straight out behind us, right arm comes up over that knee, and then we're bringing that knee across that body, looking back at that same arm. Just a few more breaths here. And on that final exhale, we're releasing that arm extended behind us, bringing our head, turning our gaze back up towards the ceiling, releasing our hand and leg, and extending it along our mat. From here, we're going to go into our final relaxation. So you can be fully extended, knees up towards the ceiling, palms down or up is up to you, or you can be seated up. Going to take this time to let your body adjust to all of the work that we've just done. Let your body come down, relax one last time, and acknowledge how you're feeling. this. You're going to drop one leg, bringing the other on top, rolling over to one side. If you have a blanket or pillow, you can put that under your head for comfort, or just bring your arm. We're just going to continue to relax for a few more minutes. I want to make sure one of your hands is planted on your mat. And when you're ready, you're going to slowly make your way up to seated position using the hand that is planted on your mat. I want to thank you all for taking this class with me, even though it's virtual. I hope that you feel rejuvenated. I hope that you feel ready to take on the rest of the week. I hope that whatever you have left on your to-do list today, you can complete. And I hope that you're feeling just a little bit more positive energy to end your day with. It was really nice to do yoga today. I was doing a lot, so it feels good to be forced to slow down and focus on my breathing and think about my body. So I hope that you guys got as much out of this class as I did. Next week will be our last class, so I hope that you all tune in. And thank you. So I do not say namaste at the end of my class because it means hello. I say have a good day in Hindu, which is Mali Kaludam. Say whatever makes you feel the best. I will say my closing greeting. Mali Kaludam to all of you. And thank you for taking this class with me, and have a wonderful evening, Gators.